Today's topic is going to have somewhat of a somber undertone to it. Straight out of the belly of the beast comes a very, very tragic story where I don't think has garnered enough attention. I think it's very important to discuss these matters because if we're going to have a better understanding of the dynamics that exist between baby mother and baby father, we need to talk about stories like this. The story starts off like this. A man meets a woman in Jersey. Now, this woman already has a daughter from a previous relationship, and the daughter, incidentally, has a good relationship with the father. Father's name is Kevin, and the man, his name is Michael. He impregnates the woman, and the woman's name is Retta. So I'm going to refer to them by their first names going forward. Because he wants to have a biological child of his own to form a family, Michael then moved both his woman and her child, that's the child he had with the previous father, to Arizona, which caused friction between Retta and Kevin. Both parents did not want to relinquish custody of their daughter. So, custody battle ensued, which resulted in Kevin winning custody. However, he still allowed their daughter to spend time with Retta for the spring and March 2020 when COVID was at its peak. So, a short time goes by. Retta refused to return the child to her father, Kevin, violating the parental agreement. With everything being closed and at the height of COVID, the beleaguered Kevin was unable to exercise his custodial rights. So essentially, he's restricted from doing anything legally because everything's closed because of COVID. Meanwhile, Michael and Retta lived as a family of 4 in Phoenix, Arizona, including both daughters, because at this time they had already had a daughter together, Michael and Retta. The couple got into a verbal altercation in March 2021. Retta was so ornery and combative that Michael had to call the police to intervene. Consequently, she was not detained or charged with anything. This whole time, Kevin was back in New Jersey. He hadn't seen his daughter for an entire year. Remember, everything was shut down. This was unusual because Kevin has been an active father throughout the entirety of his daughter's life. 6 months later, in September 2021, a judge finally ruled in his favor, ordering Retta to return the child. So, men, if you ever find yourself in this predicament, I would strongly encourage you to go down and file the necessary paperwork. I believe it's called an ex parte petition, so the judge will forego the court proceeding to grant that order. Retta did not want to return the child to the father, so what did she do? Out of sheer desperation and her insatiable appetite for revenge, Retta told Michael the girls had COVID-19 and that she would keep them quarantined in the bedroom where she would watch after them. 2 days later, Retta received that order. Michael came home shortly before 6 p.m. on September 8th, 2021, where he found both children lifeless in the bed. Retta barricaded herself in the room by pushing the bed against the door. Michael called 911, and when the officers arrived on site, they detained him. Tell me how many times does this happen? But after investigating, they let him go. Detectives say a prescription pill was found near one of the girls by her mouth. They also found oxycodone, Tylenol, and a liquid substance in the room. Investigators are saying Retta used those pills to sedate and overdose her daughters. Retta was found in a room with self-inflicted cuts along with a handwritten letter explaining the situation. Retta was then transported to the hospital where she survived, but she denied knowing anything about the confession letter, but she opened up to the hospital staff about what she did to her daughters. So nearly a week later, Tuesday, September 14th, this is 2021, Retta was released from the hospital and she was arrested, rightfully so. She was officially charged with taking the lives of her daughters. Her bond was set at $2 million. And unfortunately, both fathers were left to plan funerals for their daughters, and Kevin made the following statement. I feel for Mike. His daughter is gone too, but he had a chance to say something too. And I agree. And this, my friend, is the epitome of a feckless, spineless beta male. When you allow something like this to occur under your roof as a man. I'm going to make a controversial statement. This is why toxic mothers like this needs constant correction, because they will destroy the child in order to hurt the man. I'm going to say that one more time. Back it up. This is why toxic women like this, toxic mothers, need constant correction, because they will destroy their children in order to hurt the man.
Technically, your daddy ain't if you knew how small your daddy was, if you knew how small your motherfucking daddy was, he ain't that nut on my lip and it swim to the top.
I've dealt with something like that personally. And the animus, the sheer vindictiveness that my baby mama displayed in the courtroom and outside the courtroom demonstrated that she was willing to go unbelievable lengths to traumatize my daughter because she knew it would affect me. We got to talk about this. We got to talk about it. So Kevin is saying Michael was there with the girls and Retta. He was unequivocally aware of her behavior during their court battle, but he continued to support Retta and keeping his daughter in Arizona irrespective of the court order. This is a simp. This is the primary example of a weak father, where a man just sits idly and allows his woman to just destroy children. Man, we're supposed to be protectors of our families, of children, women. Even if it's somebody that you're with, you should correct that type of behavior because it's hurting the child. Kevin had custody of his daughter, but Retta did not want him or his new lady to have her. Doesn't it sound familiar? How many times have you heard or experienced this yourself, where if you have a child with a woman, things don't go according to plan and the relationship dissolves? You guys move on, she moves on, seemingly she moves on, then the baby daddy moves on, but the baby mama flips the script and she'll sabotage any potential relationship that man has in order to keep him miserable. How many times have you fellas heard or experienced an insufferable baby mama who would resort to subterfuge and manipulation, and she would be totally willing to destroy the child in order to hurt the man? This is happening every day. Toxic mothers, telling you. That's why men need to get over their fear of going down to the court and filing the necessary paperwork to get custody. I mean, because the alternative is to leave your children in the custody of a woman like this, especially an angry, bitter, spiteful woman. It will most likely turn into a dire situation where the children will be effectively traumatized because the mother is so angry and so emotionally unstable. This is exactly why I had to take my black ass down to the court by myself. No lawyers. She had lawyers. I didn't. Represented myself, just articulated my case. The truth is the best defense, and consequently, I won custody. It got so bad, this woman showed up to court with her entire motion response written on green construction paper, and she became combative with the judge when the judge questioned her about it. So, yeah. Stand strong, stand firm, fellas. You got to fight through it for the kids. So let's get back into this. Kevin originally had custody of his daughter, but Retta did not want him or his new lady to have her. Instead, she wanted her daughter to live with her and her new man, Michael. Michael knew that Retta was not right when she took the child from the father, but he didn't do anything, right? So therefore, he was complicit. And yes, originally it was Michael's idea to move to Arizona in the first place, taking the child away from her father 2,500 miles away. So I want to make a PSA to all the men that's out there currently dealing with a combative, angry, bitter baby mama. I'm not trying to hear you criticize your baby mama and talk about how crazy she is if you are willing to allow your children to stay within her domain. I'm going to say that again. I refuse to hear you badmouth your baby mother and call her crazy while allowing your children to remain within her vicinity, to stay in her custody. It's a contradiction, bro. If you will leave your children in an unstable environment with an unstable person, then you cannot say you actually truly love your children. You can't say it. If you're going to leave the child in the custody of a crazy person and talk down on them and badmouth them to the public, then you are the very definition of crazy. You have no room to talk, my friend. Okay, ladies and gents, this is all I got. And I just wanted to bring this to the forefront because, again, it's important to discuss the dynamics that exist between baby mamas and baby daddies, because I think a lot of the times this side of the story isn't told about toxic mothers and their deleterious effects on children. If you like what you heard, as always, like, comment, subscribe, drop a comment, let me know what's up.